Dara, and this is Dara Teaches How to Play. Today I'm going to teach you how to play... wait, where's the game?
We don't actually own today's game, Dara.
And how am I going to teach it?
You could use this print and play copy.
Okay, let's try this again. Today I'm going to teach you how to play The Bird Told Me to Do It. We don't usually use print and play copies on this show, but it's a bit hard to get a copy of this in the U.S. And Dad has been bugging me to teach this game. Psst, U.S. publishers, find a way to get rights to this game. The Bird Told Me to Do It is a card game for 2 or 3 players. Takes about 20 or 30 minutes to play and is designed by Carl Chuddick. You may remember him as the designer of Innovation, which I sang a pretty excellent parody song about. Play them a clip, Dad, and just play it to review some factories. Play it if you want more news. As you might expect from a Chuddick game, every card in The Bird Told Me to Do It is unique. Each turn, players will be adding branch cards to a tree, and then doing whatever the birds tell them to do. At the end of the game, whoever has the most points in their score pile is the winner. On your turn, you may take one of 4 actions. Number 1, add a card and then draw a card. Number 2, add a card and then take the matching unowned plumage card. Number 3, add 2 cards. Or number 4, pass, which also lets you draw 2 cards. Let's first talk about adding a card. To add a card to the tree, you must follow a few key rules. First, the card you're adding must connect to another, but only one other card on the tree. It can't have connections that dead end into other cards, but can only be connected to one other card. The cards you're adding must fit on the table. It may not overlap any other card. The cards you're adding must have no more birds on it than the card you are connecting to. The branch won't be strong enough to support that extra weight. Get out of here, yellowbirds. You're too big to connect to this blue branch. Once one side of the trunk has been started, the other side is closed off. And no connections are allowed to the top or bottom of the trunk. Phew! For my example turn, I'm going to add this one gray bird to the tree. This is legal because it's connected to only one other card, even though the branch dead ends to this white card. There are no more birds on the card I played than the card it's connected to. Then I do the second part of my action. Remember your original action choices. I could draw a card from the deck. I can take the gray plumage if it's unowned, or I could even add a second card from my hand. After I do that, here's where the game gets crazy. First, I locate the card that I just added to the tree. If I had added 2, I'd just pick one of them. Now I trace the path from the trunk to my new card. You'll notice that the white card and the red card are not in my path. I now perform every action on the card in my path in order. This is the birds telling you what to do. But wait, there's more. You'll notice that every card has a red number on it. For every card in your current path that has the same color as the card you were looking at, increase that number by 1. These actions on the cards may result in you drawing more cards, adding or placing over more cards, removing twigs from the branch, discarding cards, scoring cards, or gaining plumages. To clarify some of the trickier ones, adding cards must go into new spaces. Placing over cards must cover a card completely and still follow all rules for connection and number of birds. And placing means to either add or place over. Some cards refer to twigs, which are just cards on the tree. When a twig is removed, either from the end of a branch or from on top of another card. The tree must still follow all the rules. Scored cards go into a score pile, displayed so you can easily count your score. Never adjust the order of this pile, as some actions might take score cards from a pile, and you always remove the top card. Most of the actions are required, even if they don't help you. Fulfill it to the best of your ability. The only actions that are optional are those that require you add, place over, or score cards from your hand, as some might have conditions you may not meet. On my turn, remember I played the one gray bird on the top. We're now going to go through the actions on my path. First, it says to score one card from the deck. On my path, though, there is another gray bird. That means that I'm going to score 2 from the deck. I just scored 5 points. My next card is this 3 blue. It says to draw and place over 1 twig. There are no other blue cards on my path, so the number is not boosted. I do this weight 4. It can be placed on the board by covering the 4 gray birds. If I could not place that card, I would have just gone to keep it. I now move on to the last gray bird. It says to score 2 cards from a hand of value 1. There are no other gray cards in my pack now that it's been covered, so I don't get a boost this. 1 and 1. I had 2 value 1 cards in my hand, so I scored them both. This was an optional action, and if I only had 1 value 1 card, I would have been okay to just score that. You might think my turn would be over after doing all of that, but we're not done yet. After all this is finished, I then get to flip the next card on the deck and perform its action. Why? Because the bird told you to do it. Usually this is helpful, but not always. As the saying goes, the best laid plans of birds and men. Discard your hand, then draw 2 cards. This worked out for me. I only had 1 card left in my hand, so I actually gained a card. This could have been bad if I had 7 cards in my hand. Remember back at the beginning when I chose my action? If I chose to pass instead of adding a card, and hence drew 2 cards, then you do not get a trace of path, and you don't get the bonus card. You also need to take the pass card if it is unopened. If another player takes a non-pass action, I return the pass card. At the end of any player's turn, check for 2 things. If the tree has no open connections, or if the next player still has the pass card. That means that all players have passed in a row. If either of these is the case, then we score the branch. To score the branch, count whichever color or colors has the most birds on the tree. If we were in branch scoring, white would have the most birds on the tree because there are 5 white birds. Only visible cards count. So that 4 gray underneath the 4 white doesn't count. Whoever has the plumage card matching that color, or colors if it's a tie, scores all of those cards. If I had the white plumage, then I would score both white cards. All other cards from the tree are discarded, and all plumages are returned. One more rule is that if the tree ever has no branch cards on it, all plumages must be immediately returned. The game can end in one of 2 ways. If a player has at least 30 points, The game ends immediately and they win. The other involves the draw deck. The first time the draw deck is empty, reshuffle the discard pile and form a new draw pile. If the draw pile ever becomes empty a second time, even in the middle of a turn, stop the game immediately. Perform one final branch scoring, and then whoever has the most points is the winner. The bird told you to do it may seem like a chaotic game, but players have more control than it may seem, and will start to see strategies unfold after a few plays. Thanks for taking the time to learn how to play a game you probably never heard of before with me today. And remember to like this video, comment below, subscribe to my channel, because the Dara told you to do it. Bye!
Dara, what are you doing?
I don't know. The bird told me to do it.